Good afternoon, and welcome back to the Hive Thrive Hour on the Hive Discord, the official Hive Discord. I'm told that it's called. And today we are going to welcome as our guest Eddie. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Eddiespino. And Buck Goings isn't with us today, but Menno is going to be with us today. Menno's doing a lot of filling in for Butt, and we very much appreciate that. And he's filled in a couple times for me as well. How are you doing, Menno?
Doing excellent. I'm doing excellent. I'm happy to be here. I think I was telling you offline that Bitcoins told me yesterday to fill in, but I'm always happy to do it because obviously the reason why I'm still around in Hive is because of the community. So if I can do something for the community, I'm down. As long as I'm not traveling, as long as I can get to a computer, I'm always willing to do it. So
Well,
happy
I
to be
like
here. Happy to Eddie.
much appreciate you here. And you've got the important questions to ask today, so be ready. Be ready.
Yeah. It's gonna get heated today. We're probably gonna end up fighting, and then it's gonna just devolve into downvote wars. That's very likely what's gonna
Um,
happen.
are you on another
But
planet?
yeah, listen. I mean, my questions are very difficult questions. So and we're
Uh-huh.
gonna have to do them because we care. We care about the truth.
Well, true.
Facts over
Very true.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we're gonna have to ask those difficult questions.
But
But
any fighting
for
that
those
starts, they're going to have to deal with me. So just keep it cool.
that's right. Well, for those of you who don't know who Eddie is, which I doubt, but I guess if you're not from Hive, you might not know who Eddie is. Eddie is in Spanish. In Spanish, we call him todólogo, which will be basically an olive gist. He does everything. He's like a mod. He's a witness. He's a community leader. He's also coding for I mean, he's just doing. He has so many hats. He doesn't have a rack for all the hats, and that's why you see Eddie everywhere. It doesn't matter. You could go to a Discord about knitting, and Eddie is in there. That's how it works. I think all my Discords that are from Hive, I see Eddie, and he's always there. He's always helping out people because that's how he is. That's his personality. And yeah, and I guess I was telling you, Shadow, I have no idea why we haven't had him before, but I'm glad we're having him today. I'm glad we're gonna ask him how he found Hive. I know he's been around for a while, and I'm more than glad that I'm doing this with Eddie because I'm gonna tell you something, Shadow, and then I'm gonna lead you to start. Okay, I've been trying to get I've been trying to get Eddie on a call like this for months. We're like, Eddie, let's do this on your server. Let's do some stuff. And it never happened. So today is happening. It's happening in English, which I think is possibly better because it's going to go to a bigger audience. But I do want to do one in Spanish one day. And I do want to start doing these things as well in his server. So maybe today Eddie's going to get inspired and be like, hey, this is good stuff. It can be fun. Let's do it. So that's my hope.
So that tells me that
Right?
Eddie's a very selective guy and that he knew that
Yeah.
the best place to come was going to be the Hive Thrive Hour. What do you think about that, Eddie?
That's
No, not really. The truth is that right now it's kind of difficult because the life situation. But there was a time on Hive that I had not at the same time, but I had like maybe four podcasts going on. Not at the same time, all, but I had one with a friend Shadow Mist called Crypto Cuates, one with another friend called Paco, called Chat Between Friends. We had the Aliento cast. I had a podcast with my wife, and I think that's it. That's four. Not all at the same time, but now I have more responsibilities. Let's put it that way, and it's more difficult to find the right time. It's not that I don't want; it's more difficult to find the right time to do it.
Our podcast app on Hive went away, didn't it? That makes things difficult.
No, no, it's the. I think I've been telling my wife about this podcast since since a few days ago, and I had to make the time ready. But I'm very happy to be here, and also ready to answer any questions, even if they are difficult.
I thought you might. So the so your username is that your name? Menno, I think I'm echoing through you.
me mute myself.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is actually Eduardo, which will be Edward in English.
Hmm.
But yeah, everyone calls me Eddie, Eddiespino.
Right.
So yes, that's actually my name.
So, looking on your profile, it says you joined Hive in 2018. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
And how did you find it?
It's a funny story. I've talked about it many times, but I'm gonna do a quick summary. On 2018, I started seeing some ads about the previous
The legacy chain.
blockchain, the legacy chain, and yeah, I saw some ads on Facebook, and I was like, this sounds too good to be true. Yeah, skip it. And then I saw it again. This sounds too good to be true. And then you know that sometimes in Facebook or social media you see the same ad over and over and over and
Yeah.
over again until they run out of credit. So I was seeing those ads. You could imagine who, maybe some of the people here know from who those ads were. And yeah, and I started to investigate for by my I started to do my own research. I saw that I didn't have to pay anything. I was able to create my account. I created my account on January 3, and it was approved on January 4. And then I started to research a lot. I had like a bunch of tabs or bookmarks that I had to read, and I was reading and reading and reading, and I had nothing else, nothing better to do. That time I didn't have like an actual job. I was like in between jobs. So yeah, and I found it fascinating. Of course, it was not as good as this guy painted it because he was like on those times he was selling boats and he was earning like a bunch of and autoboarding himself. But it was true to some extent, and the first month I won, I was able to get some boats, and that kept me going. And 7.5 or more years later, I'm still here. Yeah, it
So,
was Jerry Banfield,
were you
the
already
one
a
who made the ad.
writer,
Mhm.
or did is that something that you picked up?
Uh, I tried several times to make a blog, but I never found like an incentive to do it.
Hmm.
I like to write. I didn't have like a website or like an active blogspot or WordPress or anything account like that. But I always like to write, and so I found a way to share my passion here, and yes, so, and I knew a little bit about crypto. I knew about Bitcoin. I knew about Ethereum or and another chains. I already had like an account on Bitso, which Bitso is like one of the biggest exchanges in Mexico, cryptocurrency exchanges. So I already had an account like since December or January of 2017. So like a year before. So I already knew how to move crypto a little bit.
So you knew it
So
was legit.
well,
It
I
was just
wasn't. Yeah, and until I was able to turn some rewards to Bitcoin and then to pesos, I was, oh yes, this is true, and I did that through block trades through block trades exchange. I sent it was it was not the best way to do it because but that was like my first transaction. Change to Bitcoin, then put it on Bitso, and then to pesos, and I saw that it was something true. So also this has potential. So I started researching and posting, not every day, but I started posting and commenting and engaging with the community.
so. What kind of subjects did you write about?
Uh, One of my first subjects were about music, about video games, and I also started making some tutorials about the chain in general. Those were some of my first posts,
Do you ever go back to
like
those early
general.
posts? Go back and
Yeah, sometimes.
do you
Yeah,
notice the
sometimes like.
difference between your writing then and your writing now, if it's changed much?
Mm, yes, I think so. There were some posts that were like very simple, and right now I try to make them more complete or with more details.
Hmm. A lot of writers find that
Hmm.
once they get down to writing,
Yeah.
even if they've never written anything before, once they get started, over time they start improving without even realizing it. It's always interesting to go
Hmm.
back and have a look. So you got onto the chain, you were doing posting,
Hmm.
and somewhere along the line you started getting involved in community. What was the catalyst to get you involved in community?
Mm, I think. Well, I back on the legacy chain. I try to to post or to use all the apps possible. So I started using bc.org like 2 weeks or
Mm-hmm.
1 month after joining, which that site doesn't exist already. But I think one of the first projects that I worked with was one called Repollo, which doesn't exist anymore. And there was the leader was a Mexican guy that is not active anymore. His name was Oliver. And I started working with him. You remember that for some time there was like this Steam press
Yep,
uh,
I remember Steam
app.
Press.
So so we what we did is that we bought a domain and we offered people to use like a subdomain, and that way people could use Steam press, and they were able to get some votes. So that's some of the first things that I did that didn't turn out very well because when when the the drama and everything happened, well that support to SteamPress stopped, and of course the project also stopped that time. That was one of the first, but I was also involved, not directly. Well, I was not part of the team, but I knew about, for example, Cervantes and other communities. And I actually started Aliento back in 2018, but it really took off after Hive was born, or it really got active after Hive was born.
Right.
So, mhm,
Yeah, Steam Press was a good project, and what was great about that was a normie that came along and looked at Steam and kind of went, I don't know if I really want to try that. Could actually do
mhm,
so if they were already blogging on WordPress. They could just simply do it on WordPress and have it post to the Steam chain, which really helped a lot as far as that initial learning phase. It was a good
mhm.
program.
Yes, it was good while it lasted.
Yeah. So Alien 2, what is it?
Aliento is an educational project that we teach about Web3 in general. Well, the project has evolved in time. Aliento means encouragement.
Ah,
Aliento also
okay.
means breath. Aliento also means breath, but in this context, it means encouragement. So that's our goal, or one of our goals, is to help with onboarding, with the retention, with tutorials, everything about education in Web3 and focused on Hive. But we are
So
also reaching to other Web3 communities.
so you're doing encouragement. Did you focus on a particular group or were you just any newcomer to the chain?
Uh, any newcomer, most of them by recommendation, they make their first post in Aliento if it's in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's a way we find them and we give them. We have like a mascot or a pet in Aliento, which is ajolote. You know what an axolote is? It's like a animal.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
so that account is like this animal. I want to put it here. That account uh, welcomes the newbies and guides them and gives them links to tutorials. That is done manually. It's not done with a bot or anything. So we have
Right.
someone in the team who I will not disclose his identity, uh, that that actually goes and comments, maybe not 100% of the posts, but most of the posts in Aliento, and guides them. And if someone posts in Aliento, sometimes we also guide them to the right community where they could have more support.
Nice. So you
Hmm.
said it took off better on Hive than it did on Steam. Is that because you
Yes.
were getting it started as the kerfuffle was happening, or just simply Hive was more conducive?
The reason was because, uh, well, I was in Steam, and then when the Hartford came, like a few months after the Hartford came, I started working with They Call Me Dan as his assistant.
Right.
So so I was not the only curator, but I was the main curator for They Call Me Dan at that moment. So when I was working with Dan, I said, well, now I can revive this project. So I was using Aliento to curate and also support some of the posts, not all of the posts, with They Call Me Dan. So and that's how I started growing the account and investing in the account, and then the project has evolved. Then it became Witness. We created our Discord server where we have more than 2,000 people. And yes, and we have a Telegram group, an account on X and other social media. So it has evolved. And of course, I haven't done this alone. There's, for example, Elizabeth here is currently, I joke with her, she is now the manager of Aliento. She's now doing a bunch of stuff too, and so she helps me a lot with the curation. And we have other curators in Aliento. We have very good curators in Aliento that are like very good detectives and that can find abuse and that type of stuff.
So Menno says you
So
also have a community front end.
yes, it's currently like a breakaway community. The idea is to make it better because right now it's like just like a clone of SNC,
Mm-hmm.
and I think ah it might get updated soon because they are finishing some things on the. I'm gonna share the link. It's just like a clone of SNC for the community that we need to update it. But it works. You can post, you can comment.
Sometimes the basics work, right?
The basics work. We don't recommend that right now for the newbies yet, but yeah, you can. It works. So we have that.
I was reading the other day about Craigslist that it came online back in the 90s. It's still the
Uh-huh.
same style, the same design as it was when it came online, and is like millions visited every year. So sometimes it's not the
Mhm.
look; it's just the way it works. That's what matters. So I think this is probably a good segue to for Mano to step in
Mhm.
and pick up from there.
All right, we're gonna start with the difficult questions for Eddie. No, no, I am gonna ask some slightly controversial questions, but slightly controversial. But I want to talk about the main thing that Eddie is, I think, known for, which is community building. And obviously, there's this exactly why we're doing these shows, why we're having these conversations, because we believe that in the power of the community lies the strength of Hive. Obviously, it is today the community that is keeping it alive, not so much the prices. But and Eddie, in that sense, is one of the pillars. I would venture to say, of keeping the glue, whatever you would call it, the glue, the pillar of keeping it together. Because a lot of people fall off the wagon unless they find themselves inside a tribe, inside a home, somewhere where they can find people that they relate with, where they feel like, hey, I'm not writing into the void. There's somebody who cares. There's somebody who listens. So in that sense, I want to give a lot of props to Eddie because that's exactly what he does for the Spanish community, what his team does, what Elizabeth does, and I'm going to say this too, but we need a lot more Eddies. So my first question is to Eddie: how do we? I'm going to say we because all of us. How do we make more community leaders? More like if you were to say how would you recommend? Here's the formula. How do you build a
Mhm.
community? How do you select your team? How do you How do you keep things working? How do and do you have like a blueprint of sorts you would give somebody? It's like, here's how to do it.
Mm, I think that it it has to be a number of factors. Of course, we have to incentivize the people that are joining, that are here already and that have done a lot of work. For example, uh, there's people that have brought a lot of they have brought a lot of value to Hive, but I also think that we're on a point that maybe the rewards are not enough to keep them here. So I don't know. It's kind of a complex question. In Aliento, we have people that are working, but they are rewarded for their work. So it's I don't know. We have to keep them incentivized. I will say that, and the way to do that is either with helping them with votes, helping them with, for example, in Aliento we have the income from the curation, from the witness. So instead of keeping that all to myself, I divide it with the team. If not,
Well,
but
for
it's a
sure, that's
win-win.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you're investing in your community, which is I
Mhm.
think it's kind of key. You know, like there's a saying in Spanish. It translates kind of funny, but I mean it makes sense in English, but it doesn't sound as cool. It's like what in Spanish you say "échale más agua a la sopa," which means like
Yeah.
when the food supply is running low, you just add a
Hmm.
little more water to the soup, but you feed everybody.
Hmm.
So I think that also distinguish a project like Aliento and distinguishes you as a person because you're like, hey, guys, like, it's not that I am getting all the benefits from this and I'm just sharing the very, the minimum. It's like the price is low, but I
Hmm.
acknowledge what you're doing. I acknowledge your effort, and yeah, we're just putting more water on the soup, but everybody's gonna get a
Hmm.
plate. So I see that. I appreciate it. I think it's awesome. It says a lot about you, about your character. Um, and then you say like, oh, about keeping people motivated. I'll share
Hmm.
something with you real quick, and I think you're gonna agree. I when I was a lot younger, I used to work for this lady who was, and I've written about her. I made a video about her, and you even commented on one. Who was an
Hmm.
amazing leader, and she would remind me constantly that that not all forms of payment are money
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
a way to pay somebody is also by acknowledging them. Is also by saying thank you. You know, it's and you don't think it too much, and more so because we are in this social media experiment with that has an economy built into it, but more so because um here everybody just defaults to the upvote. Oh, am I getting an upvote? If
Hmm.
I'm not getting an upvote, that means nobody's reading me. If I'm not getting an upvote, that means nobody likes what I said. If I'm not getting an upvote, but that's not
Hmm.
necessarily the case all the time, and it's certainly not the most important thing because some people get upvotes but nobody reads their stuff,
Yeah.
so there,
And
by you
sometimes
being
people are not even promoting Hive or not using the tools or the apps we have.
yeah,
Hmm.
that is true. So I think in a way your biggest payment, if I'm going to call it payment, the way that you pay people is by you being a good coach that you are, and I see you're
Hmm.
very patient when you teach people how to do stuff. Also, your conflict resolution skills are really good.
Sometimes, sometimes.
Sometimes, but it's a difficult skill, if you and you
Yeah.
worked on it. So I think that all those
Hmm.
things are a few of the reasons why Aliento is doing well. Aside from the fact that the price
Hmm.
of the tokens is down, everybody's hurting for that. Like nobody's going to sit here and say, "Oh, it's great that Hive is low." I guess if you have fiat on the side and you can buy in right now, maybe it's great.
Hmm.
But if you don't, then you're just going like, "Ugh," you know. But now let me ask you another difficult question. I told you I was going to ask you difficult ones, but not a tamale question. No, we can talk about that later. This is a very difficult one because I don't know the answer to it either. How
Hmm.
does one keep themselves balanced? Like, okay, you and I are Hivians. A lot of people here are Hivians.
Mhm.
How do you balance working with Hive, working for Hive, trying to make this place thrive, and real life, being a father, being a husband, et cetera, et cetera?
Mm,
It's a difficult question. I told you.
it's a difficult question. I talk a lot with my wife. We chat and I try. I sometimes I don't achieve it, but I try to give time to uh, the most important thing. So, for example, I had to make sacrifices sometimes. I could have, for example, in back in 2023, just after Highfest, that was like crazy time. I was part of the organization of Highfest Mexico. Just like in October, I think there was an opportunity for me to go to Venezuela, and I skipped it because uh, I didn't want to have I had like my firstborn was like a few months old, and I decided to stay home, and also don't be more expensive to hide. And so yeah, that's why I decided not to travel, and I've made some sacrifice. I could have gone to Venezuela and have an amazing time and meet a lot of people that I've known for years. But yeah, I that's one of the things that do. Of course, life is very important, but sometimes I have to ask what is truly important or what has more uh, priority depending on on things. And when I have to, when there's no other option, because there have been times that no one can do the things that so I have to step in
Yeah,
and
like
do it. For example,
you
like in
can a year
Talentland this year,
yeah.
there's nobody. Well, there's some people in Mexico, but it's nobody else was going to assume some of the things that we did for Talentland.
Can I
Mhm.
ask you something? And if you're not allowed to share, then I apologize. But like I know recently you had to like we say in Spanish, you have to say the potatoes with like an issue with coding and stuff, and uh
Uh-huh.
and and so that was another position that you fell into. It's not necessarily what you do. Like you can code. I know you can code. I actually have one of your extensions in my browser, but it's not. I'm maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't consider yourself a developer like I don't, right?
Uh,
And then you had to
mm,
jump in to do something quite difficult. Like, is that kind of what you're referring to? Is like, okay, that's it. There's nobody else. It's got to be me.
yeah. So sometimes it falls to that decision because sometimes there is no one to fill the role and you're forced to do it and I think that things can go wrong maybe because I'm not a developer as you say. I don't know, I don't have all the knowledge right now. With the help of AI, it's more easy. Like I feel confident to do the stuff, and I know the basics. I know that I don't have to run rm slash r on the home directory because I will delete the server. I know I don't I can't do that. and I'm very careful with the suggestions that the AI is sending. And I ask her, "Are you sure that's safe to do that?" And okay, so I'm very cautious. So yeah,
You
I
argue
have
with your AI a lot.
yeah, I argue a lot and yeah, but my idea is to change the roles because I don't want to be the forever assistant. I don't want to be
Yeah.
like and I don't want like to see like many devs that they're done good, they're done, I don't know, maybe okay, but they earn a lot of more than me and I'm the forever assistant. So I want to step up and have like a better more opportunities.
Yeah, I think this is one
Of
of
course,
those.
if I bring value, not just only because hey, I'm Eddie, I'm here, and I've done all this stuff in the past, so you should pay me for whatever I have done. I don't think I'm very thankful to have, and what's the word I owe a lot to Hive, so I will not be in a position to say hey, you have to pay me back, but I do want to get a better income than what I have right now. Because if not, I'm stupid if I keep working this hard for the same pay. Uh,
Yeah, no,
it's a
I hear
complex
you. I think
situation. Hmm.
it is a complex situation. Well, I've been having conversations with friends regarding, the value of of community leaders, because obviously you know
Hmm.
what this reminds me of, and maybe this analogy is flawed, but bear with me. But there are families where there's somebody in that family who
Hmm.
technically doesn't have a job, like meaning that they don't go to an office
Hmm.
and 9 to 5 and punch in, punch out,
Hmm.
but they work the hardest to keep shit together.
I've been that guy for years. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So a community leader, ends up having a very analogous, thing. And you would say, and again, where I'm going back to almost how I started this conversation, the importance of a community. Like, this is what keeps everything alive. So, to be able to put evaluation on that job, like how much is that worth, is really difficult to do. So therefore, to be able to say, okay, that now it needs to be that somebody who runs a community, then they must be paid X amount. That I have no idea how to do that. I don't know how we jump from us
Yeah.
recognizing
Hmm.
that the value
Hmm.
of a community is priceless, and the community leader is, but therefore very valuable, and then coming up with the dollar amount. I have no clue how to do that, and I don't think anybody does.
And yeah, yeah, and also if nobody will volunteer their time anymore, so I also agree with that. So it's complex. So I wouldn't charge for like doing community work, but if I work for an app or if I work for something directly on Hive, maybe yes, but I don't know. Of course, if that app is also generating income, because we have to be,
Yeah, of course.
mm,
Hmm.
I don't know.
What do you say, Shadow, to what we're talking about? What is your opinion on this subject?
It always gets dicey when you get into some members of a community are paid and some aren't. It creates a lot of
Hmm.
resentment in a lot of ways. So I kind of think that Eddie's approach there is, if I'm understanding him correctly, when he's doing community work, he does it as a volunteer. When he's working for ADAP, he
Hmm.
wants to get paid like anybody else, and so he should. Did I
Hmm.
understand you
I
correctly there,
think
Eddie?
that's my view right now. Maybe it can change. I don't know if it's gonna be like this forever, depending on how things work. But yeah, I think that because I think it should be like a value for value. If I bring value, the community will by itself will bring value. Maybe I will get more votes on my witness, and I will rank higher. And I also think that I should have like the motivation to do the synergy with all the community to bring Hive up. Because if I make a proposal and I receive I don't know 100 HBD daily, and it doesn't matter if Hive is up and down. I'm always receiving that amount. Why would I care if the Hive price goes up or not? Because I'm receiving $100 or 100 HBD each day. It doesn't matter. Uh, I don't know. It's complicated. So, so yeah, we should be like focused on making the price go up, which is also not very easy because it depends in a lot of factors. We depend, maybe I don't know, in the Koreans, I don't know, or if they decide to pump Hive or whatever, or we depend on a big whale or
You there, Meadow?
depends on wires. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I got something to like, whoever wants to answer this, either you, Shadow, or Eddie. I don't know how, if you guys have played around with Marky's tool. Marky released a tool like maybe like a week
Hmm.
ago, and analytics tool. It's actually really, really cool. Me and Eddie were discussing making one ourselves. I actually started and we were like sharing the GitHub. But now
Mhm.
that Mark released it, I'm like, ah, Eddie, I don't know if we're going to do it. That
Uh-huh.
said, one of the reports that I really enjoyed, and I encourage anybody to play with it, is free. I know Kitty Girl's on top of the game, so she's probably going to share the link. And shout out to Marky for making this tool because it's pretty awesome. But one of the things that I saw that is without a doubt the most interesting metric to me is the correlation between users, active users, and the price of Hive. Now,
Mhm.
does this mean it could be a chicken and an egg situation? Like we don't know if it means that if we get what comes first, an influx of users, and therefore the price goes up, or it's because the price of Hive went up because of the pump by the Korean community or a whale, as you say, Eddie, and therefore people are like, oh, let's go get those tokens. Like maybe it could be both in different situations, but there is a correlation. I, in your estimation, Eddie, because I mean, obviously, you and I have been here for 8 years, so
Mhm.
we've been through some ups and some downs. The last time that we pumped big time, which was in the middle of COVID, funny enough,
Mhm.
what do you think was the reason for that?
I think for what I saw or what I could see in my context, there were many reasons. One of the reasons was that there was like the NFT fever, and we had like a very well, we have like Splinterlands, and a lot of people joined Hive through Splinterlands. I'm not saying that was the only reason, but a lot of people joined Hive through Splinterlands, and Splinterlands actually burned like 2 million Hive tokens because of account creations. They were creating a lot of accounts. Of course, not all of those accounts were real. So some of there were bot farms to try to get the rewards from Sprinter, and something that they took measures in. And well, that's maybe like another another complete topic. But yes, that's what I saw, and also. Maybe the well we because a lot of we had like a lot of people come back to Hive and create posts and everything because the rewards were good, and that's true. What you said is true. When Hive is more is higher, people their accounts are sleeping, they come back and they post because they know they can get better rewards. So that's true. Other things beside Splinterlands, let me a concretion, yeah, a concretion tokens burn the tokens. Yes, that's what happened. But yeah, I think that could be one of the main reasons. Besides that, we also had a lot of maybe hype for different projects that were announced back in the day, and I don't know what else could
I
have
gener I
could have.
generally
Mhm.
I generally see Hive moving up and down with the markets in general. I've got a
Mhm.
watch list over on Coinbase that I check every day, and almost always, if Hive is moving up, Bitcoin, ETH, all those ones are moving up. And likewise, if Hive's going down, so are they.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
connection
there's a connection with the
there for
markets in
sure.
general. Mhm.
Yeah, but also, I mean, let's be realistic. You guys know I'm all in Hive. I don't have any other token these days. Like that's all. I only have Hive. But um, we have been slipping, so there's that too. And I'm not being negative about it. I'm just being realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
think there's a delay between the value that Hive has, and
Mhm.
public perception, because it seems to me that most people are still treating cryptos as some sort of gambling ecosystem, which is like they'll look at a token and they just go like, okay, is this going to pump, right?
Mhm.
And if that is your analysis and that's how you quote unquote invest, which to me that's not investment, that's gambling,
That's
then
speculation. Yeah.
then
Mhm.
speculation, then what you're actually it doesn't really matter what the token does. You go like you're looking at it just like somebody looking at horses. It's like, oh, this got a good chest. This horse is going to go fast. Let me bet on this horse. But for us, and then somebody who holds Hive, even if the price goes down like it has lately, it's just like I look at the stuff that we're building. I look at the dApps. I look at the communities, the stubborn idiots like myself that refuse to leave, and I go like, okay, I can I can gut check. I can take the price. I can because I see there's a value here, a floor valuation that is beyond what the market reflects. And at some point in time, I'm expecting the market to go like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, these tools work. These tools actually allow us to have freedom of speech. These tools allow us to have freedom dollars, as Matt has been using lately, and Dan, which I love that idea. I love that word. Um, and then at that point in time, it's undeniable. So uh, the that is the value of Hive, not the value of Hive. Yeah, yeah. So uh, yeah, that is the. And by the way, if some of you guys haven't played with that tool, go to it. The Hive Analytics use Hive.com that Marky made is awesome. And sadly, also it's revealed to me a lot of abuse on the platform that I was suspecting was happening.
Mhm.
But anyways, that's a whole different story. We're not gonna get too negative today. Hey, but to lighten things up a little bit, because we just went into the dark side of the conversation. Let me ask you something, Eddie. Well,
Yeah.
because this is an important question. I used to work in I think I told you, but I lived in Arizona for many years, and so a lot of the people that worked with me in the restaurant were from different parts of Mexico, but we had people from all over the world too, obviously. And one time, one of my coworkers made some pupusas,
Mhm.
and which were amazing. Like, and I want you guys to picture this because it's a funny story. This is a McDonald's. We're working at a McDonald's. Okay, but McDonald's doesn't have pupusas, but because us Latinos can be all crazy, they brought it. They brought in the flour and they started making pupusas in McDonald's. So that day you could buy a McChicken and some pupusas. Well, no, we weren't selling them; well, we were eating them.
Uh-huh.
And this lady was not Mexican. She was actually from uh, I want to say she was from Guatemala. And she told me that pupusas are from Guatemala. Is this
Pupusas
correct?
are actually uh, are not from Mexico, as far as I know. They
Oh
are from
wow.
El Salvador. Yeah, they are from El Salvador, I think, and also they are known in other, or they are. It's like the maybe I'm guessing. It's like the arepa. You know that with the arepa we have the Venezuelans and the Colombians fighting each other, saying to
Yeah.
whom the arepa belongs to. Maybe something like that. But according to my little research that I made, pupusas are from El Salvador, but also are famous in maybe Honduras and maybe Guatemala. I I don't know the answer to that, but here in Mexico they are not like
They're not known?
known. No, here in Mexico we have tacos and many different types of tacos. And there's a comedian that says, "What are enchiladas? Oh, enchiladas are tortillas, cheese, chicken, and
Oh yeah. I saw that in videos of me.
cream. Ah, okay, and what are chilaquiles? Oh, chilaquiles are tortillas, chicken, cream, cheese. Okay, and what are flautas? Oh, flautas are tortillas, cream, chicken. So it's the same ingredients, just in different presentation.
Oh yeah, but I love Mexican food. Honestly, is what if there's one thing I miss from living in Arizona was the Mexican restaurants. They were all over the place. And although I don't know if it's common, I don't know if it's common, um, but in Ecuador, I don't think it is. But I can take a lot of heat. So I
Oh,
was at
okay.
home with Mexican food. I eat very spicy. You know.
Yeah, it's
Do you
yeah.
eat spicy food,
So,
Daniel?
yes, I eat spicy food. Not a lot because, for example, my wife she's not very tolerant to spicy. And spicy is not a flavor. It's like it's actually pain in your mouth. So and the pain people become addictive or addicts to spicy food because after you are in pain, you segregate, I don't know, like dopamine or something like that. I don't know the exact term in English. So you feel fine after you're in pain. So it's like, it's kind of, it's kind of crazy addiction. The,
Oh, I
and it
love
happens
spicy.
in, yeah.
I mean,
Like when,
I'll share a
when you
really
have
funny story.
brain freeze, and after the brain
Yeah,
freeze, you feel like it feels nice
you
after
have a
getting that.
relief. Yeah,
Yeah, like the relief.
I'll tell you a funny story. I because I eat a lot, very spicy, right? My wife and I do. My wife even more than me. She buys what is it called? Can somebody tell me? Is it California Reaper or something like that? Carolina Reaper. There's one of those that is like really brutal. Like if you there's like a chip challenge. If you eat that chip, you win. What have you? But anyways,
Hmm.
she buys a salsa with that stuff. Okay,
Hmm.
so she puts like a little drop, but we eat spicy. I don't go to that level. But then one day we ended up going to this restaurant. It was I want to say a Thai restaurant. Yeah, I think it was Thai. And we ordered a papaya salad, and they asked us Carolina Reaper. It's
Ah,
brutal.
okay.
I don't know if you can take it, Eddie. Like it's brutal, but we went to this Thai restaurant and they ask us, right? Because we're used to eating very spicy. They ask us, "Hey, the salad you want? Do you want it mild? Do you want it hot?" And it's like, "Oh, hot." And it
Hmm.
was expensive. So I think I paid like 20 some dollars for the salad when I was going out with my wife, and I take a few bites, man, and I'm started to cry because that thing was brutal. And like it was just making me sweat. And I'm like, hey, listen, I just paid $22 for this thing. I'm eating it. And that's like
You were like stubborn. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
well, going back. Well, this is a relevant conversation because my friend Eddie is Mexican. So the Mexican people are known to eat spicy food. I don't know if it's 100% true for all of Mexico, but at least the places that I know, Mexico City and all that stuff.
In general, yes, but there's also people that don't eat spicy, like my wife.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it had to happen. It had to happen.
Mhm.
But well, Eddie, we're getting close to the end, so I want to hand it off to Shadow. And yeah, but I want to talk about I want to finish on a positive note. What do you think,
Mhm.
Shadow?
Well, in that case, I'll ask my two questions backwards to how I normally do it. What do you
Yeah.
dislike most on the Hive chain?
Mm,
God, I'm thinking.
the most like maybe sometimes maybe the lack of transparency with some of the projects that I know it's not easy because I've also been part of projects, but we for Talent Land we made like a post with all the expenses. And also I think that sometimes uh, that one of the reasons I'm learning how to code is because many times the developers are actually not users of Hive. So they develop a tool. Some of them are, of course, but sometimes they just develop tools, but they don't actually post, they don't curate, they are not using on a daily basis all the tools. So they don't know which is flow which things are flowing. So maybe it's not that I dislike that, but maybe we need more developers or more people contributing that actually use Hive and know Hive from the inside, and that way we can fix many of the problems that we have.
So,
That's maybe something
so
that
how many of the developers would you say are not actually, let's use the term, connected to Hive beyond the fact that they're coding for it? Just a rough percentage.
uh, I'm not sure. I haven't made like the calculation, but in my experience, the many of the developers I've worked with, like team members, many of them are not like and I get it because they're all spending all their time coding and doing things. So maybe at least 50% or 70% of the developers are not actually like doing things on maybe on the social part of Hive or in the things that a regular user who is not a developer will interact with.
That's a pretty big percentage. And it kind of
Maybe
big
maybe I'm wrong. Hmm.
it kind of begs the
But
question, if they haven't got
mhm,
that kind of understanding of the chain, how do they know what they're
mhm,
making is even relevant to the users of the chain?
mhm. That's something that we can ask. Maybe we can check the proposals that are currently funded and check. their personal accounts if they are really active. There are some 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 users that were already had knowledge in the in development, and they started working on some apps, and now they are doing a lot of good changes. For example, I'm gonna mention someone. It's not, for example, Manu Photos from Cuba. He started like creating content, photographic content, and then he started working with Keychain, and now he's like, I think his role has advanced in Keychain. He's no longer like just like a community manager. He's like, uh, I don't know the exact word, but his role is now more focused on the development. And
Right.
he's quite good. He actually did the new landing page for High Kitchen Nano Photos.
So he's got a little bit more knowledge of the chain and what matters.
Hmm. Yes.
I
So
didn't
he's
I,
still doing community management, but now he's also his role is ecosystem growth lead.
I didn't realize that there was a good number that didn't really have a connection to the chain, other than the fact they were coding for it. That's the
Hmm.
interesting piece of
Maybe
information.
I'm wrong. Maybe I like made it very high, but it's the this is what I've seen with at least
Well,
some
even
of the developers.
even 25 or 30% is probably more than they should
Hmm.
be.
Hmm.
So even if you went high, the point you made your point. The point is that it's a substantial number.
Hmm.
So on
And
the flip side of
mhm.
that, what do you like the most?
The most I think the sense of community, well, the I I love that we can when we make a synergy, we can achieve very good things. Right now, I know we have been like in a tremendous bear market, and it's hard to be motivated. But yeah, I think that the community is everything, and I think that if we, for example, I like Menos focus a lot because he's always like trying to see the good side, but also trying to point what's not right. And sometimes people have been trying to make Hive better, but on, on a very bad critic state. I mean, like not in a constructive way. So I like that many members of the community are like looking at the good things and being optimistic and proposing things that actually can lead us to good to be to get out of this situation that we're currently at.
Right.
So that's my goal. I want to propose more ideas, and I want to influence in a good way because I think that we still have a chance to save this. Even if some people, of course, in their reality or in their context, Hive is no longer able to be saved.
Now, what
But
would make them think that
we're
it's
we're we're all many of us are all in, like Meno says, so we don't have any other options. And
yeah?
maybe that's wrong, but we have to try it at least.
See, I guess I've always looked at it that even if it's a small chain from the point of view of the number of people using it,
Mhm.
the very
Mhm.
fact that it's got a strong community, even a small, strong community, gives it value.
Mhm.
I guess not everybody looks that way. They want to see the value in the token itself.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes if the metric is only the value of the token, so yeah, we are not doing a good job in general. No one
Yeah.
is doing a good job, and that's why we see a lot of criticism towards any proposal.
Of course, when you look at crypto in general, it still isn't getting the acceptance level.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes it, twice as hard to try to get the word out that the chain's here and it's got this value that you actually could come and participate.
Uh,
And then, of course, we have our
and we're
onboarding
mhm.
issues.
and we're like in a problem that we cannot go and to an event and present the tools because sometimes the tools don't work in the moment or they are very complex. We are making progress. The checking with app is a progress, but we still have to make a lot of improvements because people you can it's very difficult in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the time that you have in this type of conference to convince a person to join Hive, and maybe they will join Hive, but yeah, okay, whatever, it's cool, nice. I have like another app on my phone, and they don't save their keys, and they forget about it, and they lose the access to the account. I don't know. So, so we have to make more tools to follow up with them, have groups, have support, because it's I had some technical knowledge, and for me it was not easy. I had to invest a lot of time, but I was very interested. So we either need people that are very interested, they have the need, and we also need to make things easier for them.
So Aloha Ed has said, I wonder if we should highlight Hive more as a resilient blogging platform, more so than posts for rewards. Um, I know that when I'm talking to people when it comes to Hive, I do talk about they can blog on it as well as do other things. But as far as rewards go, I speak in terms of you could earn micro rewards
Yeah.
that will build up over time. Because I think the big mistake in the past has been people have thought they're going to come in and make dollars right off the bat.
hmm Yeah, and it's very easy, and it could be even like a cheat to say, "Hey, you're gonna join here and you're gonna earn money." But the reality is that not always they're gonna earn money because they oh yes, I have $20 in my post, but maybe that post was plagiarism, and then it comes the downvotes, and it we will cause the opposite effect, and they will say, "Hey, just scam me. You told me that I was going to earn money, and now I lost money, even though they haven't earned it in the first place."
I
So
will
yeah,
s-
it's
I will say
we have to change the focus.
once you
hmm
get past that initial getting yourself established and getting known by people, um, I consistently make more on a Hive post than I would on a
hmm
post over on Medium. So
Yes, yeah.
people can say that the issues talking about the rewards. You post on Medium, you're supposed to be able to make rewards too, but you're lucky to make a penny, and you'll
hmm
make more
Yeah,
on
or
Hive.
yeah, monetizing in Web2 is real, but it takes more time, and you also can be demonetized in a blink of an eye, and they can take all of your accounts. So it's one thing over another. So I think Hive has a lot of good things, but we have to I don't know, we have to focus on building the tools or improving the tools that we already have, make them more accessible for people.
So we're almost at the top of the hour, but I just see this comment here from
hmm
AvTab, and I'll give you an opportunity to respond to it. He says, "I'm developing a fully decentralized freelancing platform on the Hive blockchain. I'd love to hear your advice or suggestions regarding this project. Anything off the
Okay.
top of your head?"
Is it like maybe Open Genie or something like that? Or because I know we had like some of like a Fiverr. We already have something like that, but we haven't just like used them, really used them. Uh-huh. Yes, sometimes we have many tools, and the developers are using a lot of tools. For example, Blocktrace team created the HiveSense thing that allows you to quickly search for posts in a better way or for data in Hive in a better way. But for example, I noticed that Pigdy is about to implement it. So the the technology is out there. So we need the developers to put the technology, and we need other developers and the community to implement them on the tools that we have. So
So
yeah, and
there's
I
a
noticed that if I focus on building, I worry less about the price, even though I have to see how I come to the end of the month. I my mind is more focused on building, and I spend less time on dramas, and that
Yeah, it's amazing when we're
reduces the
busy,
stress.
isn't it?
Hmm.
When we're keep
Yeah,
busy, it
and
makes a
that's
big difference. There's a
mhm.
there's a Discord for the developers, right?
Yes, yes, I
So
think.
maybe Aftab needs to be hooked up to that so that he can get a little bit more input.
So sometimes the issue is also that a developer gets an idea and then another developer on the other side of the world gets the same idea and they are working on the same kind of project. And until both launch it, they say, ah, I made the same thing as you. So we need to be in more communication and more connected so we don't do double work sometimes.
Exactly. So
Hmm.
it's been great having you with us today, Eddie. I think I've learned a lot more about you. I hadn't actually known you about the Aliento, so that
Uh-huh.
was new information for me. You know, I'd
Hmm.
already connected you with the work you've done with Matt and Dan,
Yes. Hmm.
so I didn't know too much about the other. So, Menno, any last words for Eddie?
Yeah, no, I'm what I'm gonna say is like, brother, I am grateful to know you. I'm grateful to call you my friend. I am grateful that you're still sticking around despite everything that's going on in your personal life, the difficulties, and despite that
Hmm.
price of Hive is going down. And I know because you and me are in the same boat. We are like do or die, and right now
Hmm.
times are rough. So, uh, as much as it's worth it for me to say, thank you,
Hmm.
brother. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here, for being you, for doing so much for the community and for the little tiny minnows. I I I keep on saying this, and I'm gonna say it until the day that I die. This chain will be unkillable as long as there's people here, and as long as there are community leaders and people that are helping with retention and onboarding, we have a fighting chance. So you can take two attitudes. One is get all negative Nancy and start saying, oh no, this chain is going down, blah blah blah. Or what you could do, which is better, is get your hands dirty. Help out somebody.
Hmm.
If you see somebody struggling, understanding how the keys work or what is the proper behavior, or even if you can help onboard somebody, well, then you want to help Hive, you want to make the price of Hive go up, you want to make this place succeed, well, then that's your opportunity right there. Maybe you're a coder, maybe you are a community leader, or maybe you're just a nice person, but all those things
Hmm.
count. And as long as you are doing your share, as long as you're putting your granitos de arena, as we say in Spanish,
Hmm.
then you're not just complaining.
Yeah,
You're doing
we're
something.
we're in the same boat. We have to focus on getting to the shore, not focus on throwing the other guy out of the boat. That's I think
That's
that's
right.
we
Yes.
That is
can.
right.
Let's get everybody to the shore.
Yeah.
I like that saying.
You got any final words, Eddie?
Uh, let's keep building. Let's contributing. Let's keep. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Let's from where we are, from the skills and the talents that we have. Let's try to to use them to promote Hive and to build on Hive, not to just destroy and maybe I don't know talk shit about other people. Even sometimes I make memes, but I rarely share them publicly. But it's a way that I deal with the
You
stress.
went.
I make memes about Hive. And I've made some very funny, but I cannot share them publicly so many times.
We're gonna have to have a special private channel for Eddie's memes, and just a select group of people can see them
Yeah,
because
but
they are
sometimes
atrocious.
they can reach X and oh man, the meme I made is now causing drama on X.
Eddie,
Yeah, yeah.
are you telling me that you make memes that are not suitable for snowflakes?
Uh, it could be. It could like hurt some people's feelings sometimes.
How
So
Yeah.
that's
diplomatic of
why
you.
I don't share them. Yeah.
You're very diplomatic how you answer. Mino, I forgot to check before we come on. Do we have a guest for next week?
Uh, you know what? I'm gonna owe you that one. I know that we were talking to some people, but I don't know who confirmed. I can't remember
Okay.
off the top of my head, but there was at least three names that were bounced around in the chat. So
Well, we will be back next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Even if we haven't got a guest, Mino and I, and maybe even Butt, will show up and talk you all to death. How's that? So once again, we're down at the end of the hour. We're actually a little bit over the hour. And I thank you everybody who's listening in and has been here in the channel listening in. And without you attending, we probably wouldn't have a show. And until next Tuesday, thanks again. And yes, it is actually all about community.